I'm actually a little upset about something right now. I know you were expecting to see another feminist video from me, in continuation with my video series, but something else came up, and I don't usually like doing things so much I'm a pretty kind of on the fly girl, but I don't like doing this so on the fly, but I'm actually really upset about this, and I want to get this video out now. And basically, the YouTuber Evalion, the little Nazi girl, she was removed from YouTube. Her channel was taken down. Now, being a Jew and all, people might expect from me a positive reaction. They might expect me to be happy that such a disgusting, vile person was removed from the internet. But I'm the opposite. This goes against everything that I sort of believe in, and that the same standards that I want to be applied to myself. Her views are disgusting, illogical, and bigoted, and based not in fact. Her views are anti-critical thinking. Her views are simplistic and are brought about by severe paranoia. That being said, I in no way want her views to be removed from the internet. What is one of the major conspiracies against Jews? That we control the internet, that we censor people, that we censor dissenting opinions. And what was done to her will only validate that notion in the minds of every single Nazi on YouTube, which is rising. There are a lot of new Nazis deciding to come out of the closet on YouTube and show who they really are. And that is a good thing. It's not good that so many people hold these views. What's good is that we know what their opinions are and that they are out in the open, and we understand what they're truly about. We can argue with them, we can debate them, and we can see, okay, what's really behind this cloak? Because we're so scared when we see Nazis. We're so scared when we see anything with a swastika on it. And now we can see what are their real opinions, what are their real arguments that they use. And then we can go back and we can argue with them and disprove them so that new people aren't brought in, so that new people aren't intrigued by these bad, vile ideas, because we're showing we're showing people that there are better ideas, more logical ideas. What was done to Evalion, there are people who are now going to be forced to defend her, and I don't want to defend a Nazi. But this reminds me of something I learned in AP Gov. I believe it was Alan Dershowitz, the man who wrote A Case for Israel. I think it's the same Alan Dershowitz. I should probably fact check myself a little bit, but I remember hearing about this in AP Gov. And basically, a Jewish man was the one who defended a group of Nazis' right to march in the streets and have their hateful protest and parade, whatever you want to call it. And that's what has to be done. It has to be Jews who will denounce YouTube's action of censoring Evalion. Aside from the fact that this will only fuel anti-Semitic conspiracies, the fact that her YouTube channel was taken down after she repeatedly claimed that, oh, I hope this doesn't get showed. It is also anti-free speech. Free speech is one of the greatest, it is, to me, the greatest value that we have in our society. I believe it was Webster who said, and correct me please if I'm wrong, he said something along the lines that if I was stripped of all of my rights and I could only maintain one of my rights, it would be the right to free speech, for with it I could gain all of my other rights back. And I totally probably butchered that quote, and I probably butchered the person it came from, but the principle's still there. that free speech is the most valuable and important thing in our democracy, in society. With it, and like the quote says, with it, you can gain back all of your other rights, because with it you can advocate for yourself. With it you can advocate new ideas, and that's why it's so valuable. It's how we can begin to try to understand and break down our world. And if we're limited without even having a chance, if we're limited in our free speech, then we don't even have a chance of trying to understand the truth. And the fact that they've limited her free speech, while I despise the way she uses her speech, while I think that her arguments are simplistic, idiotic, and hateful, she has every right to those opinions, and she has every right to say what she says. Now, I understand YouTube is a private entity, and that they're not responsible for preserving free speech. So I understand that. Same with Twitter. There's no governmental control there. They are private entities that can remove whoever they want. They can even discriminate if they want to. They can decide who they want, what they want on their platforms, and the government doesn't really have a right to step in. So this isn't a matter of government taking away our rights. But I would still say to YouTube, if I could, please don't shut down her channel. She only has a new channel. She already has a new channel. And this is only going to embolden her. This is only going to embolden the people who support her. KKK members, neo-Nazis. This will give them fuel. You are feeding them. We could have had a debate. We could have argued. We could have talked to each other, reached across the aisle, not to come to any sort of consensus, but to expose how idiotic their views are and how misguided. But instead, what you did, YouTube, and I'll get to Onision in a second. Instead, what you did, YouTube, was you empowered them. You turned her into a martyr for her cause. Right or wrong, there are people who now have to defend her. Right or wrong. And then there are people who, by the very fact that she was shut down, will begin to think, what was so dangerous about her speech that they felt the need to shut her down? Was she saying something that could be damaging? Was it truthful? Was she speaking the truth and they're just trying to silence the truth? People will now ask those questions. Mr. Onision, putting my personal disdain towards you aside, I want you to know that your campaign to silence Evalion is not helping the people that you claim you want to help. You think you're helping Jews? You think you're helping Jews by trying to silence a Nazi who claims that Jews are trying to silence her? We have a right to say hateful things to each other. This is a famous misquote attributed to Voltaire, although I think Voltaire said something and then someone else misquoted him or wrote about what he said in his book or what he said in real life, and they simplified it. And you get this beautiful sentiment that I may hate what you have to say, but I will fight to the death for your right to say it. And I firmly believe that. And I wish that others did too. Because I'm a Jew, She's a Nazi. You think I want to be defending her? You think I want to be defending someone like this who thinks that I secretly control the world, who thinks that I work in a collective against the entire human species, against specifically the white race? It's not what I want to be doing. I don't want to be here on camera defending her. And I'm not defending her, I'm defending my principles. I've been studying anti-Semitism for a while now, in depth, and I've been learning about this all my life, in Hebrew school, and I understand, there's a lot of conspiracies out there, and you are only contributing to them. You are not helping us. You are hurting us. any Jew out there, hey fellow Jews if you're there, I urge you to make a video not in defense of Evalion, but in defense of the right to free speech, even hateful speech. You really put us in a bad position, Onision. I'm not saying, I don't know how much influence this girl has. I don't know how much influence she will ever have. But people like David Duke support her, and we live in such a heated society, in such a divided society, and paranoia is just running rampant. And I feel like this is only going to contribute to that. I don't know how big of an impact this will really have. But she's gaining traction, and Onision's popular, and Leafy is here is talking about her. This isn't quiet. This isn't going to be exactly quiet, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't want it to go down quietly, because I want her to have her rights. Now, I understand YouTube, she doesn't have any rights, but I feel just for the sake of the principle, you have to give her the right to free speech, even if YouTube isn't obliged to provide that right or obliged to provide a platform for our free speech in the same way that our government is. So I understand the legality, that this is totally legal what they're doing. I understand that. But from a principled standpoint, I can't support what YouTube is doing. I can't. And Mr. Onision, you claim that she made a threat against Jewish lives in your video, that she threatened to kill us and therefore her free speech ends, which is the case. If you use your free speech in this country to, and this is, precedent set by the Supreme Court in certain cases, if you use your free speech to basically encourage violence against others, then that's where your free speech ends, when it is being used for that purpose. Evalion, it was, to me, even as someone who, I'm not exactly friends with her, and she's not exactly making this in good faith, no pun intended, between the Jewish community. It's not like she's a friend and making a joke with them, she's making a joke against them. But it was clearly satire. She wasn't advocating for actual violence. I don't think there's any evidence suggesting that. I don't think she was encouraging anyone to actually go out there and kill Jews. In the context of the post, it was satire. And if you want, guys, you can go watch Onision's video. He talks about, this isn't free speech anymore because she's advocating violence. She wasn't. I don't believe she was. And if you interpret it differently, if you have a different idea about how she was using her free speech and whether or not she actually was advocating for people to go out there and kill the Jews, please comment below, tell me your different thoughts. But I think it was a joke, a disgusting joke meant to hurt people. Yes, because it wasn't made with the Jews. It was made against, if that makes sense to anyone. So I think that your argument there is wrong. In conclusion, this is overall disappointing. And everyone prepare for more. Everyone just get ready to see more anti-Jew stuff and more anti-Jew conspiracies out there, because thank you, Onision. Just thank you. You really, really helped us there. You're a real pal. Okay.